a game. You don't play to just play. Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40! Can't wait! Let's go!
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the show. It is Coffee and Sports. It is the morning show here on Sports Empire Network. We are happy to have you here, however it is that you might be listening or watching us right now, whether that be live here on Facebook or YouTube, whether that be live on Roku TV, or whether that be later on in the day over on YouTube as well. I am Chris, and that, of course, is Mo. Mo, how are you this morning, sir?
I'm doing well, Chris. Appreciate everybody that's turning out, watching the show, waking up with us, and talking coffee and sports.
Mo, let's start the show off this morning by talking about NFL quarterback Kirk Cousins. So now that Justin Jefferson is going to miss substantial time with his hamstring, and the team literally is not going anywhere, we have to ask ourselves the question, is it time for the Vikings to move on from Kirk Cousins? Obviously, this is the last year of his current deal. There is already talk swirling before the season even began that Kirk would not be coming back next year. He is getting older. It looks like they might potentially be going into a different situation at the quarterback position for next year, which, I'm not going to judge them for that. That seems pretty understandable to me. So if they have the option, they might decide, Mo, to move on from him this year and get whatever you can get for Cousins, and then kind of move on and figure out the plan going forward. So with that in mind, Mo, I present to you this morning a couple of options that potentially could work for Kirk Cousins moving forward. And we're going to start with the Atlanta Falcons. So the Atlanta Falcons have weapons. They play in a poor division. They have weapons on both sides of the ball. They have a above average defense, but they have a quarterback that we don't really know still whether or not he is the answer in Atlanta, and that is Desmond Ridder. Now, obviously, for him to go to Atlanta, that would basically mean that Atlanta is pulling the plug on Desmond Ridder. I don't foresee Atlanta doing that. I think they're going to continue to see what they have in the young quarterback. But, Mo, what do you think of Atlanta and Kirk Cousins?
I like it. I like it because of the weapons that you did mention. And don't forget what Bijan Robinson can do in space. I like the idea of Kirk Cousins in Atlanta. New environment for him, a fresh start, maybe not the pressure that he's had in Minnesota. To me, Kirk Cousins holds a lot more value than maybe other people think. I think even though he hasn't had the success of the elite, he's a very good football player. Now, granted, this season, this has been one of those seasons where anything that could go wrong in Minnesota has gone wrong. If Kurt hasn't thrown an unfortunate pick, his wide receivers are catching the ball and fumbling, or they're not catching the ball when they're wide open. It's just been an unfortunate season, and it looks like going forward, the Vikings are probably just going to have a very good pick in the draft. And we can both agree, Kirk Cousins probably not the Vikings' future, right? He's not part of their future. So while he has value right now, why not move him, get back an asset, and start planning your rebuild? And I like the Atlanta idea. I think there are a couple other places he can go to as well. You mentioned, why not Indianapolis? Even though we both are big fans of Minshew, Tennessee I think is an option because he'd be an upgrade obviously from Tannehill. So I do think his value is a lot higher than most would think.
And Mo, you mentioned Indianapolis. That was another team that was on my potential list over here. We talked about Indianapolis yesterday. I like Indianapolis because I don't think bringing in Cousins means the end of Anthony Richardson. I think that bringing in Cousins says that, hey, we think we can win the division this year. Richardson's going to miss substantial time with his shoulder injury. Let's see if Kirk can get us to the playoffs. It's just a rental. It's just a 3/4 of the year rental. And then we go back to Anthony Richardson, no hard feelings. Anthony's injured. He knows that he's not being replaced by Kirk Cousins. He knows that he's still the future of this franchise. For those reasons, I like Indianapolis. But another interesting team on our list over here, how about the Washington Commanders?
Oh, wow. I
Now,
hadn't even thought of that.
Washington defense isn't as good as we thought it was, but they do have weapons on the offensive side of the ball. And for those of you who like symmetry, for those of you who like stories coming full circle, Kirk started his career in Washington.
He did.
So there would be something poetic about Kirk Cousins returning to Washington to potentially finish his career. I don't know if Sam Howell is the guy. I don't know. He's been okay, but he hasn't been a world beater, which is why we're having this conversation. Mo, what do you think of Kirk going back to Washington?
I like the full circles. I like the story. And I don't think it means the end of Sam Howell as well. I think he's a young enough quarterback that with Kirk Cousins or playing behind Kirk Cousins, he might learn a little bit about patience in the pocket presence. And like you said, it's a 1-year rental. To me, if he can turn it around and help them get into the playoffs, whether he's part of their future or not, it's a great audition for Kirk Cousins as well. So it's a win-win. If the Redskins are in the playoffs and Sam Howell can learn a little bit behind Kirk Cousins and Kirk Cousins can bolster up himself in free agency, I think it's a win-win. I actually think, though, should he play as well as we think he can play, Sam Howell's probably not going to be starting anytime soon. Not ahead of Kirk Cousins.
Now, of course, we also have the New York Jets, and Mo, you and I have talked about replacing Zach Wilson ad nauseum, and we have both arrived to the point where now we feel they're just going to ride out the season with Zach Wilson. We've discussed previously here on the morning show why we think that's going to be. A lot of that has to do with them potentially having their cake and eating it too, getting a quality first-round draft pick with Aaron Rodgers coming back next season. But Mo, I want to end our Kirk Cousins conversation, and I want to end it with the team that I actually think that he should be going to. And that team is the New England Patriots. I think that Kirk Cousins in New England makes the most sense of any team that we have discussed so far, and here is why. Clearly, they are done with Mac Jones. They clearly have no confidence in Mac Jones. He has been benched 2 games in a row. We knew coming into the fold that Bill Belichick was not a big fan of Mac Jones. We knew that Mac Jones and Bill Belichick had a rift between them, and that has not gotten any better. And there is no backup sitting behind Mac Jones where you're looking at a backup like a Zappy, and you're saying, well, if Mac Jones doesn't pan out, let's just go with Zappy and we'll figure it out. There is no other option. Once you look at that and you accept that, because you cannot sit here as a Patriot fan this morning and tell me that Bill Belichick has any interest in Mac Jones. Once you look at that, it's no longer a situation of a 1-year rental. Now it's a situation of what can Kirk do for a couple of years here in New England? What can he work with? Now, I'll tell you, there's not much to work with on the offensive side of the ball. Doesn't matter who you bring in as a quarterback now in New England. They're going to have issues offensively because they don't have any weapons. They have no playmakers on the offense. They have an over his prime running back in Ezekiel Elliott. They have a decent running back in Stevenson, but they have 0 wide receivers who can separate. That being said, I like Kirk Cousins' skill set in there better than I like Mac Jones. Now, do I think inserting Kirk Cousins into the Patriots makes him a playoff team? No, because again, Cousins needs weapons. Cousins has had weapons in Minnesota. Cousins even had weapons earlier in his career in Washington. So I don't think Kirk Cousins, who I say is a B+ quarterback, is going to elevate a burning situation like New England where there aren't any weapons around him. But he is an experienced quarterback who has had success in this league, who is going to be better at the stuff that Mac Jones struggles with. So, Mo, if you're looking at a landing spot for Kirk Cousins, I think as of today, New England's a pretty good spot.
I actually think of all the teams we talked about, and it's funny how I let this slip by. What team doesn't need Kirk Cousins more than the Patriots? What coach doesn't need Kirk Cousins more than Bill Belichick? Like, to me, as you're speaking the words, Bill Belichick is like, I need to find a way to make that happen like today, like right now. And you make a great point. If they get Kirk Cousins, he's not a rental. I think Kirk Cousins going forward, he's the Patriots quarterback as long as he can stay healthy for the next 5 or 6 seasons. And he does elevate them. He will stabilize their quarterback position. So you're not looking for your quarterback. Now you're looking for the skill positions to complement your quarterback. I think it's the best move. It's the best landing spot. It's the place where he's most needed. And I think they'd be excited to have him.
And like I said, as a Dolphin fan, would Kirk Cousins coming to the Patriots right now scare me? No. But if the Patriots got some complementary pieces around him, I would at least see the Patriots as a threat because, Mo, the Patriots have fallen from grace so hard and so fast that and like Bill Belichick said, that they're starting over. Well, if you're starting over, let's be honest, this is a quarterback-driven league. You don't have your quarterback of the future on your roster right now, and Kirk can play at a decent level for the next couple of years while you figure out your quarterback situation. So why not roll the dice? Why not be competitive? Because that's what the Patriots aren't used, and they haven't been used to this because they've had Tom Brady. What does rebuilding look like in New England? The Patriots haven't had to go through losing seasons and being a dumpster fire for the better part of the last 2+ decades because Tom Brady's been in the building. So now you're looking at a fan base that has this expectation of winning, an owner that has this expectation of winning. You're not winning. So you need to do something, and it doesn't look like they're willing to just tank for a quarterback.
Right.
So if you're not going to do that, we know quarterbacks don't grow on trees. This is a decent option to at least, it's a jumping off point, Mo. Now,
Right.
are there better options out there? Maybe, but this is an option.
Right. And we're not saying Kirk Cousins is on par with Tom Brady. But what we are saying is you were spoiled because you had Tom Brady for 20 years. The guys that you've had that followed him, they're not even close. Kirk Cousins stabilizes your offense. You have a legit arm talent that can move the ball around, manipulate defenses, can recognize coverages. He is a huge upgrade if the Patriots acquire him. And he helps you. If you're not going to tank and you want to be competitive, you're set at quarterback once you acquire Kirk Cousins. Now it's up to Bill Belichick or whoever the new GM is to go out and get the surrounding talent, the skill position talent, the wideouts, the tight ends, and upgrade your offensive line as well. And not to mention, a better quarterback also makes life easier for your defense.
A defense that was above average last year that can't stop anything the past 2 games, Mo. At this time, Mo, we are going to welcome William onto the morning show. Always excited to have William here with us on Wednesdays.
How you doing? How you doing this morning?
What up, Will? How's it
Now,
going, sir?
hold on. Let me stop y'all for a quick second. I love seeing the Patriots fall. Let them keep falling. Let them keep going. They can keep falling. They can keep going. We don't care about the New England Patriots. They can keep doing whatever they're doing right now. But a couple of landing spots y'all talk about, I'm interested in. Y'all talked about Atlanta. I would love to see Kirk Cousins in Atlanta. You know why? You get used out of Drake London for a change. Kyle Pitts gets a bump up. He's got a good running game in Atlanta. So I love it. That would be perfect for the Falcons. That'd be perfect for them. I also like the Jets. I think the Jets would be a good move for him. And the last one is very, very intriguing. You were talking about the Tennessee Titans. Tannehill can't get it done anymore, guys. He's done. He's over. I would love to see him in Tennessee too, because that gives Derrick Henry that much more ammunition to keep doing what he's doing. Because now all of a sudden play action comes into play, and you already have Hopkins over there. Tajay Spears can come out the backfield and catch the football. So those are some landing spots I just love, and I hope they do it too. But don't go to the Patriots. No, don't go to no. I love seeing them just fail, just getting destroyed. I love it. Plus, the other wide receiver they got over there is Kendrick Bourne. Unless you trust Juju all of a sudden, which I never had trusted Juju Smith-Schuster. He's fool's gold to me. So, nah, no Patriots. Nah, this them die. This let them die a slow death. Let Bill Belichick, decide, to go out on top whenever he decides to retire and start that thing over again.
But you're not in a rush for the Patriots to be very good again.
Nope. Sure about ain't. Sure about ain't. Let them suffer. Let them suffer. But Kendrick Bourne's the only receiver they got over there that can do any type of separation or any type of damage.
And on a really good team, he's like a 2 or 3.
Yeah,
really good team. He's a 2.
Yeah, really good team is like a 2 or 3. And the thing that kills me, particularly for all you fantasy owners out there, such as myself, it's destroying Ramondre Stevenson. It's just destroying him and whatever value that he gives you. He's the only weapon they have out the backfield. I think Ezekiel Elliott is done. He's the only value you really have in that backfield there. And because
I had Zeke in fantasy, but I had Zeke in fantasy, not thinking he's a 1,000-yard back. I had Zeke in fantasy because he's always been great in goal line and he's great in the red zone. So I thought, here's a guy who's going to get 10 to 11 touchdowns around the goal line, and obviously that has not happened. But the Atlanta thing is intriguing because you wouldn't even know that Kyle Pitts has played this year. That's how often he's been targeted. They don't even look at the tight end. Like Ritter looks at one guy 9 times out of 10. Kyle Pitts gets no targets. So he would be an extreme upgrade. They have a lot of talent. If you're just set on the Patriots not getting their hands on the quarterback, Atlanta would be a very good transition for him.
I would love Atlanta. I would love to see Drake London finally have the opportunity to produce. He's young. He has the talent. He just needs the quarterback. And Pitts and Jonnu Smith can really step up. They just traded for Van Jefferson. So they would be able to do some things if they was able to acquire Kirk Cousins.
Speaking of the New England Patriots, the Patriots offensive coordinator Bill Obrien has come out this week and said that Mac Jones will be under center as far as his expectations go this week when the Patriots take the field. This is the same Mac Jones that hasn't been able to lead his team to a touchdown the past 2 weeks. This is the same Mac Jones that has been benched the last 2 weeks. And Kyle Edwards is in the chat this morning, and he is upset because the Patriots slander continues. And I will say this, gentlemen, we'll start off with you. What else is the Patriots offensive coordinator going to say? There isn't another option behind Mac Jones. Now, obviously, if he's saying Mac Jones is going to be the starter, it's because he knows that Belichick's not going with Zappy. Now, he did go on to say that, there's no time in this league for mental breaks, and we just have to push through it and figure stuff out. Okay, great. You've had the last 2 weeks to figure out how to get a touchdown, and you haven't been able to do it. And not again. Okay, so yes, the Dallas Cowboys were a great defense, but the New Orleans Saints are not the Dallas Cowboys defense. And the New Orleans Saints have given up plenty of touchdowns to plenty of teams this season, and you couldn't score against them either. So let's not sit here and pretend that you played 2 all-world defenses. And if you're talking about the Dallas defense, let's be honest, they struggled against Arizona. So they are not a defense you cannot score on, Will. So I understand why Bill O'Brien is saying what he needs to say, but let's step beyond that. Bill Belichick said after the loss last week, we have to start over. Mac Jones is still the starting quarterback this week. If starting over doesn't mean moving on from Mac Jones, what does starting over mean? Because what has happened? Nothing has happened as far as we can see. They haven't made any moves coaching wise. They haven't made a quarterback change. They haven't brought in or traded for any other pieces. So now you have to wonder if it's just scheme based. And if it's just scheme based, what can you possibly do in a week aside from completely try to run the ball, which, by the way, they tried to do the past couple of weeks, but no defense is scared of their running game, which can be pretty good, by the way. Stevenson is a decent back, but no one's going to be scared of Stevenson when they know at the end of the day, Mac Jones can't beat them down the field. So they're going to continue to put 8 or 9 in the box and dare you to run until you get down by 14 or 20 points and you have to throw the ball, at which point they're just feasting on Mac Jones. So, William, I ask you, what is starting over look like then?
If you got to do some wholesale changes in New England to me. You got to do some wholesale. Mac has had his opportunities to go out there and make plays, and shows he can't do it. You have to make some changes. I'm no Zappy fan by any means. I'll put him in there. I'll go ahead and bench Jones, put him in there, and see what he can do. It can't hurt you any more than what Jones is playing right now. Maybe he can build a rapport up or something like that with one of the receivers and start making a connection. Because right now, it doesn't seem that Jones has any rapport with any of his receivers at all. Plus, the offensive line hasn't been the best because he's not given or presented the time to throw.
That has impacted the run game, too.
Yeah, and the thing with Jones that he was drafted for was for his ability to see what's going on downfield, to analyze defenses and make quick decisions. Problem with that is offensive line's not giving him enough time to even read the field. So, you got to put Zappy in there to see what he can do. If you want to rely on that run game, that's fine. You can try to pound the rock best you can. But like you said, they're going to come against a lot of 8-9 man fronts, and it's going to force whatever quarterbacks in there to throw the football. So I think it's just going to be hopeless for the Patriots. I really do, and I'm loving each and every second of it. Yes, Kyle. Yes, I'm loving it.
Is there anything they can do scheme-wise on offense, whether it be using motion, whether it be pulling out some trick stuff, whether it be putting different personnel in different positions, trying to set up easier stuff for Mac Jones to utilize out there? Because I'll be the first to say it, Bill O'Brien isn't terrible when it comes to being an offensive mind. He's really not. He's had success in the NFL. He's had success in college. He's not, in my opinion, a Shanahan or a McVay or a McDaniel, but it doesn't mean that he can't have similar success when it comes to scheming. And I think what Mac Jones needs is he needs literally a perfect scheme on the offensive side, stuff that the league hasn't seen from the Patriots this season, to kind of just get something going and put your defense in a spot where you're up by 3, you're up by 7. Give yourself a little bit of a lead to your defense and let your defense work a little bit, Mo. Do you see any hope of that happening?
It's possible, and maybe what they should do, considering their situation on O-line, maybe go 2 tight ends, play with a fullback. Put Stevenson in the eye and zone block. Give him a chance to read and cut, because he's a powerful back with speed. He's a one-cut power back. I just think that they don't have the talent. You made a great point, right? Bill O'Brien's actually a good offensive coordinator. But the best offensive coordinator, you're going to be limited if you don't have playmakers, if you don't have some kind of explosive talent, at least one guy that you can go, if I get him in space, he can make somebody miss and turn a 5-yard play into a 25-yard play. They don't have anything like that on that roster. So I get Kyle's frustration, right? He's a lifelong Patriots fan. But to be fair, you guys had a great run. You got 6 champions. I mean, you're good. You are good. You guys had a great run. Eventually, you had to know at some point it was going to come to an end. And look, I know you think it's Patriots slander, but to me, I'm just saying, I'm trying to get Kirk Cousins to your team. I'm not a Patriots fan, but I think it is an upgrade. I know Patriots fans might be like, we don't want Kirk Cousins. Like, yes, you do. Yes, you do. He's an upgrade for anything you have on your roster. No, you're not going to win a Super Bowl this season. You're probably not going to make the playoffs, but he will stabilize your quarterback room, and you will be set depending on what you can do in the offseason. And probably one of the first things that should be done is Bill Belichick, the coach, should go to the owner and go, we need to fire Bill Belichick, the general manager. Not very good at his job.
So
don't forget that defense is hurt because Judon didn't play last week. They're down a corner, so they are not 100% healthy either on that defensive side.
No, for sure. You mentioned firing Bill Belichick, the GM. How about firing Bill Belichick, the head coach? As we are a quarter of the way through the season, guys, we are really focusing now on head coaches that are truly on the hot seat. Now, you have coaches on the hot seat coming into the season. You wait to see how things start to play out. And now we have a better opinion of what the hot seat officially is going to look like for coaches this season. So, William, let's start right here with the Patriots and Bill Belichick. If nothing dramatic changes and they stay on the track they are currently on, they have one win right now. Let's say they wrap up the season with 4 or 5 wins total. Mac Jones continues to look like a disaster. At some point, they bench him for Zappy. Zappy comes in and looks equally as much of a disaster. So they have no hope for a quarterback of the future on their roster. Will they finally move on from Bill Belichick at the end of this season and bring in an offensive-minded head coach to do what Bill Belichick said, which is start over?
I think you don't fire Bill Belichick. You let him go out gracefully. Because yes, while it was Tom Brady's team, but we all see that Tom Brady was the reason why they won. You will still let him go out with grace because he did bring you those Super Bowls. So I think you go up to him, you give him a good retirement package at the end of the season, let him move on. You do it right, you do it professionally. I wouldn't fire the man because of everything that he has done for you. But yes, it's time to make that change and bring someone who is more offensive minded into the building. You can always get your good defensive coordinator to take care of that defense and tighten it up. But they need an offensive makeover, and it's time for them to bring somebody who can do that.
And Mo, like William just said, they don't gotta fire him. They can put him in the office. They can give him they can give him a little raise. You know, they can put him up in some sort of front office position where he's still helping out with the defensive side of the football, where he's still there to mentor and kind of put his hands on the side of the football that he is really good at. And like William said, you know, bring in a new leader of that team as a head coach, someone who is offensive minded. But Mo, do you see the Patriots pulling the trigger and doing it?
I don't know if they'll pull the trigger, but I actually like them. I think it's a good idea if they did what Washington has done with Ron Rivera and Eric Bieniemy. Clearly, Eric Bieniemy is the heir apparent. I think that you can hire the heir apparent because it's not going to be Bill O'Brien and still have Bill Belichick in some form of power. Maybe have him working more solely focused on the defense. He's always had a knack for defense. He's a talented defensive coordinator. Nobody would deny that. I think that might be something he might be agreeable to. Because remember, any kind of move like this, you know, it's either going to be like, I'm all in, or Belichick's going to be like, I'm all out, right? He's had power and total control and autonomy for over 20 years. So I don't see him giving up power easily. He might, if he's just hell-bent on staying part of the organization. If he talks to Robert Kraft and they have a come to Jesus conversation, maybe that's one way to get him to, like, just take a step back. Not saying like you're not part of the team or you're not in a position of power, just not the head coach, and you bring in the heir apparent. He might be open to that transition because that would be a graceful way for him to be part of the future, but also be prepped for his exit.
And have you ever listened to him on a podcast? The thing that he always says on the podcast, I'll be willing to do anything that helps the team. Well, being in the front office helps the team. Bruce Arians did it, so why not you?
Well, and we mentioned Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera is another one that he's kind of warmed out his welcome possibly in Washington. He's been there a while. He's done great things for the Washington franchise, but they do have a new ownership group. There is some uncertainty at the quarterback position. Is it going to be Sam Howell moving forward? Are they going to have to regroup and find somebody else? And then you have to just ask the question, as great of a coach, William, as Rivera is, does there come a point where his voice just doesn't resonate as much as it did 5 or 6 years ago? Is that the point we're at in Washington?
I think so. Because if you look at it, that team does have some talent on both sides of the football. How was like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde this season so far, but you still have some talent on that team with Terry McLaurin. You still have Dotson. You still have Samuel. You still have Brian Robinson back there. You still have some talent, and that talent is not being utilized at all. So, you know, you still have a good tight end in Thomas. So they need to really make that decision, because when Rivera goes, the head coach is going to be already. It's going to be Eric Bieniemy. So they need to go ahead, and I will go ahead and make that transition, because I don't think Ron Rivera is a bad coach. He knows his X's and O's. We've seen that. We've seen Rivera be successful, but it comes at times that your voice becomes a dead voice to a lot of guys in the locker room, and you need to make that change. I think if Ron Rivera was let go today, he'll probably have a job in like 2 or 3 weeks with another team, because he's that well respected within the league. But I just think it's time for him to go in Washington.
And you called the quarterback Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Rivera has a little bit of that going on as well. He never had, with all his success in Carolina, never had back-to-back winning seasons. He is the model of inconsistency when it comes to coaching the NFL. He follows up a great season with a subpar season. He follows up with a good season with a bad season. He can't seem to put it together. And now you're looking at what Washington is doing this season on more of a micro level, literally from game to game. Washington is doing that. They have a good game. They have a bad game. They have a surprising performance. They have a letdown. So you're now seeing it on a smaller scale with Rivera in Washington, where week to week, you just don't know what you're going to get. Yep. So I think a lot of what you just said makes a lot of sense. Mo, moving on to another coach. Let's go to Dallas and Mike McCarthy. Ooh. If they don't make the playoffs this year, or if they do make the playoffs, let's just say they don't win the division. I think the Eagles have the division. They don't win the division. They make the playoffs. They don't get past the wild card round. Is it time for McCarthy to go? Because McCarthy, Mo, is a weird situation where they're having success. They're winning games. Sure. But I feel like you didn't bring Mike McCarthy to Dallas to win 10 games and either lose in the wild card or get past the wild card and consistently lose the next round. I feel like the bar is higher for Mike McCarthy, and he hasn't really sniffed it as the Dallas head coach. And then you put on top of that, he struggles with calling plays at times. He struggles putting Dak in the right position. He struggles managing the clock still this far into his NFL career. Mo, when is enough in Dallas with Mike McCarthy?
I think enough is if they make the playoff and they get knocked out early. For me, his body of work in Dallas, that would be enough. But here's the thing, guys, and I think we all should know this. Jerry Jones doesn't like to be proven wrong. Look how long he held on to Jason Garrett. That was his guy. Season after season, letdown after letdown, disappointment, and he held on because that was his guy. That was his choice. He's brought in Mike McCarthy. He's going to be proven right. I guarantee you, I can't promise beyond next season, but Mike McCarthy will be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys unless they just tank and don't make the playoffs for some reason. If they make the playoffs and they have their usual early exit, he will be back because Jerry Jones does not like to be proven wrong. And Jerry will sing it to the heavens. We didn't win it all, but Mike's our guy. We're in the playoffs, and Dak and Mike's going to lead. He will say the same thing that he always says. He has a difficult time looking at the big picture. He's not the greatest at self-evaluation. He really isn't. Great businessman, but not the greatest at self-evaluation. Because if he stepped back, he would realize Mike McCarthy, good coach, but a horrible coach when it comes to situational football. Always has been.
Will, who goes first, McCarthy or Prescott?
Prescott. But I think McCarthy would be like 2 steps right behind him. He messed up when he decided to take play calling duties. I really think that's where he messed up. Because you see under Kellen Moore, Dak was more productive. Yes, he would still throw the timely pick, but he was more productive with his receivers. CeeDee Lamb would be utilized more by now. They'll have a couple of at least two, three touchdowns by now. You would have seen more out of Brandon Cooks under a Kellen Moore offense. You haven't seen anything from that offensive side of the football. It's killing Tony Pollard. So I just think that I've never been a Dak Prescott fan at all. He leveraged himself to make all that money. And that's why I say Dak needs to be first. Because That's fool's gold.
Bobby
And
goes.
and then McCarthy need to go right behind him because
If Dak goes,
like Mo said, his body of work isn't the greatest. So Prescott first to me, and then McCarthy, and you reevaluate your talent from there.
William, is there any chance the Broncos move on from Sean Payton after one season?
No, I think you get rid of Russell Wilson first, and that's bad. And that's bad to say because if you look at Russell from last year to now, he's making a career rebound. So I don't know if you would let even. So I wouldn't know if you let either guy go because you have seen an improvement from Russ. I haven't thrown as many interceptions as of now than he did last year. He's throwing touchdowns. Now, granted, his yardage totals haven't been the best. He's been over 200. He's under 200 yards for several games so far this year. But yeah, I will keep both of them for at least another year. The problem is in Denver, that defense has regressed from what it used to be.
Right.
That defense that defense used to be his bread and butter, used to be his calling card, and now it's coming up on the losers' end of things. So they need to fix their defensive woes. If they can do that, with Javonte Williams coming back, with McLaughlin showing what he can do as of last game, and you got Samaje Perine back there, you got Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. You got too much on the offensive side to be as up as you are. So fix the defense. Go ahead and try to retool the offense just a little bit. Maybe throw to your tight end a little bit more. Establish your running game like you've been doing the past couple of games. And those guys, and I think they'll be fine. Will they beat Kansas City? No, but they can be a wild card team and maybe second and third in that division.
Are they as talented on the offensive side as we think they are? I mean, I'm just saying. I think Jerry Jeudy was a star. He was a stud in college.
Yep.
I think right now I look at him as a good receiver in the NFL. I don't think he's an elite receiver. I think Denver has talent. I don't think they have a pure number one receiver.
Yeah, you might be right about that. There might be a couple of number twos out there.
Sutherland, I don't think they have one guy the defenses go, if we slow down Jeudy, we've got the game. Like I don't think they have to like double team Jerry Jeudy. I don't think he gets safety help over the top. Same with Sutherland. I just think that their offensive talent is very good. I just don't think it's elite.
But see, that's the thing that's killing me though, Mo, because you got Marvin Mims out there, and he's shown this season he could be that dude. The problem is he doesn't get the targets to get the chance to be that dude.
Yeah, but have you seen how they
killing me with that?
Have you watched Denver games? Whoever the offensive coordinator is, they're doing this short passing game. Like Russ is throwing the ball like barely over the line of scrimmage. Like I don't know what they're doing. You'll look in the first half and you'll realize Russell Wilson is 11 for 13 for like 90 yards. Like, where's the ball going?
And that's where the low yardage totals comes into play, because by the time the game is over, the man's under 200 yards. He's got you 2-3 touchdowns, but he's under 200 yards. They need to fix that. You got wide receivers that can break things open down the field. I don't know if they feel Russell doesn't have the arm. I don't know if they think Russell can make those throws. I don't know.
I think they're playing too safe. I think they're calling a safe game, and they're not calling a game to win.
Right.
They're not attacking. They're just getting by. And their defense isn't good enough to where you can play that kind of offense.
No.
And that's the key, Mo. If your defense is a Jets defense or a Dallas defense or a San Fran defense, that's great. Take it down the field, be deliberate, dink and dunk your way down. 17 to 20 points is enough to win most games. But when your defense is bleeding, and every time you score on your 5, 6, 7, 8 minute drives, you're giving it up 2 minutes later. Now you're asking your offense to go back out and have another sustained drive, which you guys know that's hard in the NFL. Or more importantly, you're asking your offense, which is dink and dunk the entire game, to now go win a game in a minute and a half. They haven't done that in the entire game. They haven't had to do that the entire season. And when they've tried to before, it hasn't worked because they're not built for that. They're not schemed for that. So now you're asking your offense, which is built to go 10 plays, 8 minutes down the field, to go start doing deeper stuff down the field in a minute and a half, and it's not working. And people are like, what's Russ doing? Why isn't Russ pushing the ball down the field?
Ain't Russ' fault. Russ ain't calling plays.
Russ is following the game plan. Russ is being told to do what Russ is doing, because if he takes the chance and he pushes down the field and it's an interception, well, now it's definitely Russ's fault.
Yeah.
So, and you know, Russ is not confrontational. So Russ is doing what's asked to be done of him. And I think that's why you're not seeing Peyton get more frustrated and animated with Russ on the sidelines, because aside from Russ's guaranteed, unfortunate turnover every game, which happened this past week with the fumble at the end of the game, Peyton knows he's going to get that. Peyton knows that's coming once a game. But when Russ is going dink and dunk and it's not working, you're not seeing Peyton get all animated on the sidelines, because Peyton knows what the offense is calling for. Peyton knows what the offensive game plan is. So at what point do you look at Sean Payton and be like, fix the offense, fix what you're scheming. What you're scheming is getting what you're getting. So I think that's the thing here. And that's why I think more of this needs to be on Peyton than it needs to be on Russ. But the last coach we're going to talk about here is Mr. Eberflus, William.
Wow.
I love the guy's name. I really do.
Eberflus.
Sounds like something from Lord of the Rings.
Correct. William, if it stays on track the way it is right now, Chicago's going to have 2 top 5 picks. Right now they have the top 2 picks in the draft. If that's game changing. That is franchise changing draft equity. If they end up with the top 2 or the top 3 picks, you can't bring back Eberflus, right? You can't bring back this guy to run the franchise when you potentially have the ability to pick up a lot of talent in one offseason. It has to be someone else, right?
I wouldn't bring back Eberflus even, Mr. I'm going to throw screens. I'm going to throw little halfback screens. I'm not going to really throw the football down the field. That was kind of a shot last week against Washington that you saw DJ Moore had the game that he had. Great for DJ Moore. Good to see that you're doing your thing in your first season with the Bears. But you can't bring him back. Ain't no way in the world you can bring this man back. The play calling has been terrible for the most part. I think a lot of stuff Justin Fields did or has been doing the past couple of games is despite of the coaching staff. He's just going out there doing his thing, and you see it. It's like Justin Fields is like different between night and day. He's not listening to the voice that's in his ear. He's just going out there playing football, and that's what some players need to do. And I just don't think you bring Eberflus back. Not that the Bears aren't devoid of talent, because they are. But when you have a chance to get the first 2-3 picks in the draft, man, don't bring him back. Don't bring him back. Because if you keep him, then you're gonna contaminate him. You're gonna contaminate all those picks with bad play calling and a bad locker room. That locker room also needs to be changed. That locker room culture in Chicago also needs to be changed. And I don't think you can do that with Eberflus there. God, that name is stupid. Eberflus, come on, man.
Gentlemen, we got some breaking news here on the morning show. 2 things just came across the wire. The first one being Bill Belichick saying that the Patriots are not making any changes despite their 1-4 start. Mac Jones will remain their starting quarterback this season. So it appears that Bill Belichick has second-guessed the worst starting over after last week's game, and they are not going to start over. And
Go ahead, Mo. You know what he's gonna do, right? He says that, and then he's gonna bench him again.
Right, he's gonna bench him this week.
He's gonna bench him again. Like at some point, you're actually messing around with this guy's confidence and the team's confidence in him if you keep benching him.
Also, breaking news, the Colts have placed Richardson on the IR. He is going to miss at least the next 4 games. But the report that just came out is it's more likely 4 to 8 weeks, as he is going to be getting shoulder surgery while he is on the IR. So it is going to be a substantial amount of time for Anthony Richardson. But right now, gentlemen, we are going to pivot to the NBA. Well, not the NBA. We're going to pivot to basketball. We're going to pivot to Team USA basketball. And what we're going to do now, we're going to put both of you in the position to pick Team USA. All right. So I'm going to give you the quick rundown, and I put it into the chat so all of you can take a look at it so you can have it in front of you. So you don't got to memorize anything right now. But I'm going to give you the names of the players that have said they want to play basketball for Team USA. And you can only have 12 of them. So I believe there's going to be 21 on this list. Wow. So you're going to have to cut 9 players off of this list. And here is the list: LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, Damian Lillard, Draymond Green, Jason Tatum,
Bruh.
Devin Booker, Chris Middleton, Bam, DeRozan, Bradley Beal, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Julius Randle, Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon, Fred VanVleet, Brooke Lopez, and De'Aaron Fox. They have all either committed to Team USA or they have said they would like to be a part of Team USA. Team USA can only have 12 players on their roster. Now, for fans who are not aware, they can bring all these guys to camp. They can bring all these guys to camp to practice with Team USA and be a part of the Team USA process, but only 12 of them can be on the official Team USA roster. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go back and forth until we cut 9. And Mo, we're going to start with you. Who is the first person you would cut off that list?
I don't need DeMar DeRozan.
No interest?
No. I like him, but I don't need DeMar DeRozan.
All right, Will, who's your first cut?
Give me a second. Let's go back. My first cut is Fred VanVleet. That's my first cut.
That was my first cut, too. I don't like the guy.
Yep.
I got no reason.
Yeah, I don't like him either.
I can already tell you, I have no desire for Julius Randle to be part of any team.
I agree with you on that.
All right, Randle is the third one cut. Who's the fourth one cut? Will?
Chris Middleton.
Ooh, Middleton is off the team. All right, Mo, fifth cut.
You did say Brooke Lopez is on there, right?
He is on there, yep.
I like Brooke Lopez. I don't need Brooke Lopez. That's tough. I said I like him. I don't need him. I don't need him on Team USA. For anybody out there that's a Brooke Lopez fan, Milwaukee Bucks fan, that's all I meant.
The only reason why I'm keeping Lopez is he gives you some size. That's the only reason why I would keep Brooke Lopez. Only reason. But my next guy, I'm gonna get some hate for this, but bump it. Zach LaVine gotta go.
Zach LaVine gotta go.
He gotta go.
I don't need Zach.
I'm a Bull fan. I've seen this man play. He gotta go. Mr. Inconsistent.
So far, we have cut DeRozan, VanVleet, Randle, Middleton, Lopez, LaVine. 3 more cuts are needed, Mo. Who's next?
Who else is on that list? Because I can't remember everybody.
No worries. We got LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and
they're all safe. Everybody in the picture is safe. That's a
given. Anthony Davis, Dame, Draymond, Tatum, Booker, Bam, Bradley Beal, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Aaron Gordon. That's who's left.
I don't need Bradley Beal.
Ooh, Bradley Beal gone.
I'm there too.
All right, Will, 2 cuts left. Which one you taking?
If I'm going to be a little bit different, I'm gonna get some hand on this one too. I don't need Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown gone.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
I ain't got no handles. Nah, he got to go.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. All right, Mo. Last cut belongs to you. You're cutting a quality player right now.
I know. give me the rundown. What's left one more time? Well, I know De'Aaron Fox is in there. I like De'Aaron Fox though. I don't want to move him.
Yep, Fox is in there. You also got Dame, Draymond, Tatum, Booker, Bam, Mitchell, and Fox.
So normally, some people would take Draymond off, but I think a Draymond and a Bam are necessary. That's my size, right? My size is AD and Bam, and what's great about those two bigs, they can play in space. That's why I wanted to keep them. Lopez can't play in space.
This is true.
So if I had to choose, I don't really need Donovan Mitchell because I got plenty of guys that can put the ball in the basket. So I would leave off D Mitch.
All right, guys. So your cut list right now is DeRozan, VanVleet, Randle, Middleton, Lopez, LaVine, Beal, Brown, and Mitchell. That's tough, guys. That's tough.
It's a tough
you got to do what you got to do.
Will's like, I'm sorry, but not everyone can play.
Everybody can play. You got to do what you got to do.
We'll get you a jersey. Right. You can come practice with us.
Yeah,
right.
You come hang.
They can travel. Right.
You can travel with us, but
hang
you
out.
ain't gonna play.
Coach will get you all the swag. You'll get the bag. You'll get the towel.
All the Team USA you want.
Hey, don't forget late night Mad tournaments. They'll have a good time together.
Yeah, if you want a Carmelo Anthony jersey to kind of motivate you like you did play, okay, we'll hook you up. But other than that, about it.
Look, I really feel like that the 5 that you have in the pick right there, if you've got that 5 and then you've got some of those other guys. Like I said, there's a reason why I picked some of those other guys to be cut, because some of them, you have too many of the same guys, right?
Yeah,
I mean, ultimately, Beal and Donovan Mitchell, there's a similarity in skill set that overlaps. I don't need them. Now, people can make the argument that Booker's not a great defensive player. He's not a great defensive player, but he's competitive. And more importantly, he's a great, efficient offensive player.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Will, thank you so much for hopping on this morning. We appreciate you, sir, having you here every Wednesday on Coffee and Sports, the morning show. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Not a problem. Thank y'all for having me.
Have a good one, Will.
Always great to have Will on the show here with us this morning, Mo. As we head into our final 9 minutes this morning, we got 3 more things to cover. And the first thing we are going to talk about is my Miami Dolphins. Unfortunately, the most electric running back in the NFL so far this season. Yeah. Devon Achane is going to miss several weeks. He has an undisclosed knee injury. It's looking like he is most likely headed to the IR. So we were thinking about a month for him. Good news, though, if you are a Dolphin fan, Jeff Wilson Jr. is coming off of the IR, and you still have an explosive running back room. I don't foresee there being a huge drop-off here, Mo. Obviously, you're losing speed, and you're losing a big playmaker. But let's not forget, when Achane went wild again last week, what did Mostert do? 10 carries, 65 yards, and a touchdown. Mostert's averaging 6.5 yards a carry. That's pretty darn good.
6.5 yards.
Right. I mean, it looks like garbage when Achane's averaging 12.8.
That is insane.
But I don't think the running back room is going to take that huge of a hit. Obviously, you lose a little bit of explosiveness in the run game. But if it's only for 4 or 5 games, I think they can weather the storm. And it looks like we're going to be getting Achane back around the same time that we're getting Ramsey back on the defensive side of the football. So it looks like Miami's going to be gearing up for a nice, solid playoff run in about a month and a half or so. They'll also be getting Armstead back around the same time on the offensive line. So not great news for the next 4 or 5 games. And the unfortunate thing here, Mo, is who do they play in those next 4 games? Their other 2 big games this season. They got the Eagles in 2 weeks. They got the Chiefs in a month. Obviously not ideal for those 2 big games. But again, if you're a Dolphin fan, your eye is on the playoffs and making sure that if you can get there, your team is healthy when that happens. And I don't think that losing him for a month is going to derail their playoff ambitions. What say you, sir?
I say you're still explosive. Look, Mozart is not. He's never been an every down back. He's more of a changeup, but he's also a game breaker. He's a playmaker. Get him in space, and he's electric. So is he what Achane is? I don't know if there's any back in the league in terms of just speed is what Achane is, because you can have the angle on him, but you don't really have the angle on him. He's got Tyreek Hill kind of get up to where you can have the angle and it doesn't help you any.
Nope.
Mozart is maybe like slightly under him. That's how explosive he is. You're getting Jeff Wilson back, so he can run between the tackles. You get Mozart in space. I think you have more than enough to hold down the fort until you get Achane back. I think the Dolphins are going to be fine. Yes, you're missing a home run hitter, but you've got 3 other home run hitters in that offense, so you're going to be okay.
Following the Green Bay Packers loss, we had Jaire Alexander come out, Mo, and he basically said that the defense needs to win games for this team and that it's all on the defense if they're going to be winning games this season. Clearly, that's taking a shot at the offense. Clearly, that's taking a shot at QB1 in Jordan Love. Clearly, it's taking a shot at their head coach, because these are all aspects that are saying the offense is good enough, and one of your best players on defense is basically saying, no, it's not good enough. If we're going to win, it's going to be on us. I don't have an issue with a defensive player coming out and saying that we need to step up our game. I also don't have an issue with a defensive player being honest. If Jordan Love is going to keep playing the way that he played the last 2 weeks, and that offense is going to play the way that it's played the last 2 weeks, isn't Alexander right? Isn't it going to be on the Packers defense to hold opponents to 17 points? Because if they score 24 or 30, I don't think the Packers offense can match it. So do you have any issue with what Jaire Alexander came out and said?
I think he was saying the quiet stuff out loud, right? The things that other guys on that defense have thought to say, he said it. They don't have an explosive offense, and we don't know yet what Jordan Love is. We thought we had an idea from the preseason going into the first couple of weeks of the season. We thought, okay, they've got a good quarterback. I don't know if he's a franchise quarterback, but we thought they've got a good quarterback. He's good enough to be a quarterback and help them win football games. In the last 3 weeks, he's looked totally opposite of that. Turnover machine, not looking downfield, holding on to the ball too long. If you're the defense and your offense is going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, it wears on you. It frustrates you. So I don't have a problem with him saying that. Now, maybe the coach is bothered by that because he's supposed to be an offensive-minded coach. Mm-hmm. And they've got an offensive coordinator, and they're supposed to have enough talent on the outside, and they're not moving the ball very well. And it all starts at QB1. So if somebody wants to say he's taking shots, I don't think he was making a secret. I don't think he was hiding the fact. That's exactly what he was saying. He was saying, if the offense just doesn't turn the ball over, we'll do the rest, right? He's saying the defense is good enough that we can win an ugly 13-10 or 10-7 game. Maybe he's right. You get Aaron Jones back and you pair him with Dillon. You got Dillon smash mouth between the tackles. Get Aaron Jones in space. Maybe that's all you need. Make it to where Jordan Love has to do less and see what happens.
I think that's part of the issue, Mo. Without Aaron Jones, Dillon's a great backup. I don't think he's a 1. So with Dillon in there being your 1, and then I don't know who their backup is behind Dillon. I think it's someone named Taylor. But he isn't much to talk about either. So when the running game is hindered the way it is with Jones being injured, what happens? You ask for more out of Love. And we saw the past couple of weeks what it looks like when you ask for more out of Love. Now, Jones wasn't lighting the world on fire the first few games either. He was hurt and he was still battling injuries, but at least the running game was more consistent the first couple of games. Now, the last couple of games, we see what happens when the running game is not consistent and more has to be placed on Jordan's plate, and this is what is happening. So I think they need to find a better balance on offense, and they need to get Jordan to stop making the big mistakes. It's okay if you miss an open guy. It's okay if you miss a crosser over the middle that could have been a first down and you have to punt. I would much rather take that than you throw it right to a defensive player on your own 30-yard line, and now you're putting your defense in an impossible situation. Mo, let's close out with this. If there is one player besides Fred VanVleet that I don't like in the NBA, it is Dillon Brooks.
I know this. I know this to be true. I know this. We've talked about this.
And last night in a preseason game, Dillon Brooks got himself ejected when he had a groin shot. I know it just sounds right. Dillon Brooks delivering groin shots. For me, it sounds right on par for Dillon Brooks. Of course, he said it wasn't intentional. The officials felt otherwise. Mo, do you think that Brooks should have been ejected last night?
I saw the game. I thought it was intentional. I mean, I know in the post game he's going to say, well, that's the kind of thing. You just kind of, your hand finds its way there.
Apparently.
He put a good screen on him, and what he did is he could have went over, he could have went under, but it was such a good screen. Dillon Brooks, I think he was mad. I think look, you can watch the instant replay. He did it on purpose.
Yeah.
And you know how people say, well, he's not a dirty player, but it was a dirty play. Well, he's a little bit of both, right? It was just a bad play. And maybe Dillon Brooks, or maybe you know what? The biggest challenge for Houston this year is to control this guy's impulse control, right?
Yes, 100%.
That's his biggest challenge. He can be a good player, but he's got to control that.
Mo, great morning here on the morning show with you as always. Special thanks to William for coming on the show. Shout out to everyone who is in the chat. Mo, close us out, sir.
Thanks for everybody watching the show, supporting us. Smash that like button. Share this show. If you're not watching it live now, you can watch it later and enjoy everything that Chris and I have to talk about. Support all the great content on Empire Sports Network. Check out the Empire.
We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow, where we'll break down Thursday night football here on Coffee and Sports, the morning show with Chris and Mo.
I mean, you can see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling. Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face.
Oh, from Brooklyn.
Hey, you guys any